Hey Fun Rich Mamas, Mitch here, and I am back with part 3 of life lessons learned while taking the Guinness Factory tour. Beer Factory tour. One of these things, that is correct. But it is part 3. Okay, so let me take you back to the tour. Again, we're inside this massive building. It's 5 stories. We start at the very bottom when we see the contract that Arthur signed for 9,000 years. Part 1, vision, right? And we start taking the tour. It's kind of a circular tour throughout the building as you make your way up throughout the different levels. And I'm noticing all of the different processes and infrastructures from part 2 that are taking place in order for this beer to make it around the world. And then I realized again, this thing is now up to 50 acres worth of these buildings with machines and people inside working all of this. And it occurred to me that number 3 thing that Arthur needed to be successful was he needed a team in place. He could have had this really great beer that he brewed in his bathroom or his garage, or I guess stables, whatever place of the house he would brew it in back in the 1750s. And maybe he might have had a local pub and he could have had a nice little successful life. However, his beer would have never made it to where it is today, where it's a name that everyone recognizes no matter where you are in the world. And a lot of people have had it or something like it because of what he started. And not only did he have to have a team, he also had to be able to let go, give up some of the reins, so to speak, so that his team could go and do what they needed to do. He couldn't be there to micromanage every single aspect of what was going on. Could he set it up right? Could he let them know the expectations? Could there be a training process? Sure. And at the end of the day, he has to rely on his team to help him get through it. So how does that relate to us as moms and trying to be mom and beyond? A lot of the times we feel like, especially in today's world, like you got to have it all together. And you have to be doing it all by yourself. And if you don't, then you look weak, or like, you're not the Pinterest queen, or you don't want to be the person that's always imposing on other people, right? I know. I feel like that. I felt that way many times. I still struggle with that. And I'll be honest with you here, putting this part of the series together was a little bit of a challenge because I kept thinking, man, there are so many women that I hear from that are just saying, I don't even have any friends. And now I'm telling you that you need a team. So how are you supposed to combine all of this together? And I know, because I've been there a few years ago when we first moved out to where we are now. I didn't know anyone. I had young kids, and then COVID hit, and it was just like the most lonely time in the world, and there was no sense of team. And as women, we're natural connectors. It's what we do. We are all about connection. Even those of us that are pretty lousy at doing it, guess what? We thrive off of it. So one thing that we can do is start to step out of our comfort zones. And I know it's a dirty word. It's a dirty, dirty word. Step out. Because comfort zone is so comfortable. We want to stay there. I know it. There are parts of my life that I am still very much in a comfort zone, and I have to keep pushing myself out because I want something better. So I'm going to give you just some of my experiences, and maybe they might work for you. I don't have all of the answers, but what's cool is you can go out and figure some of them too. So the only place that I had to start off with was at home, right? Especially during that time when we were all isolated. So I have a 1 and a 2-year-old and a husband. How am I going to make this team work for me? Well, first of all, I had to step back and I had to give up the micromanaging, because as women, we love processes. We love things to be done our way because that means safety. It's something that has been studied over time. And if we don't follow our processes and things don't go in the way and the order that we think they need to be, there's like this sudden fear of doom or death, right? Because if we go back to the gathering days, if you send someone to the wrong berry bush, that's the poisonous berry, not the one that we can eat. So that's why we can sometimes get a little bit crazy. So take a load off of that, go, take a nice deep breath and go, oh, okay, it's not just me being crazy. It's actually an innate part of being feminine. And we can also step back and let go of that. So for example, if I needed to send Andrew to the store and get some stuff because I'm in the middle of doing things, but I know I need these things for dinner or whatever later tonight, I can give them the list. Hey, these are what I need. Is there a specific brand that you need? You know what? No, just as long as you get this, I'll be fine. And then I give him the space to go and be part of the team and come back and do it. And he didn't feel micromanaged. And then I say thank you, which is another cool concept that we forget to do with our family because we're around them all the time. And those are usually the people that we take for granted the most, right? So start with your team. Even my kids, I have them work and do their things. As little as they were, they started making their beds. Is it perfect? Absolutely not at all. And they still get the pride of doing it themselves. And so we did a fun little thing where we say, okay, it's time to decorate your beds. So instead of, having to do the chore of making the bed, they get to go and they get to decorate it however they want, whatever animals, their pillows can go however. It's just something done and it's off my plate and it makes me feel good because they're learning to take care of their stuff. So start with your team at home and let loose on those reins a little bit, okay? And then from there, it's about adding value. How can you add value to the team around you? And like I said, it's about going out and stepping out of that comfort zone. And here's the key, is it takes time to build that team because people need to not only know you, like you, and trust you. And trust doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes there are people that you click with, boom, you can get things going. So for example, when I did move into our neighborhood finally, we had some neighbors up the street. We got to know each other a little bit. I'd say we were casual friends here and there, got to at neighborhood parties, that sort of deal. Got to know each other well enough to say, hey, you take great care of your kids. I know how you take care of your kids. And she called me up one day and she said, let's do kid swap. And I was like, that's a great idea. So on Mondays, I would take her boys for a few hours. On Tuesdays, she would take my girls for a few hours. And that gave us 3 hours in the week that just belonged to us. And it was wonderful. And we could do whatever we wanted with it. And neither of us felt like we were imposing on the other person. And we just took care of our stuff. It was great. And then she moved. Fortunately, my kids are a little bit older now, though. So they're a little more self-sufficient and they've become a bigger part of my team. That doesn't mean that I haven't gone out and continued to branch out and meet people and look at, okay, what are my strengths? What can I bring to someone? What do I bring to my home game? And what are the strengths that I'm missing in my team? And who can help me with that? Who can maybe mentor me or who can step in and fill in on that space? Because it feels good to be able to give. It's just part of how our soul grows. And if you don't have a chance to give, trust me, you'll probably feel like you're missing something in your life because we are contributors. That's how the human spirit is designed to be. So right now I have my friend's dog at our house for the week while she's out of town with her family. I am so excited that I could take her dog and have a safe space for him to be where he's not locked up in some kennel or he's not with strangers and she can go and relax with her family and have a great time and not worry about it. It makes me feel good that I get to be a little piece of that relaxation that she's getting to experience right now. So learn what are some things that you can offer and also look for things that you may not typically be looking for help in. Sometimes we get so focused on help has to look a certain way. It's got to be only this, like only taking care of, if someone takes care of the kids, I can do everything else. Well, what if someone else could step in and do a piece of the puzzle for you and gives you a little more relaxation with your kids where you can actually enjoy being with them? That's why we had them in the first place, right? And it doesn't always have to be friends. It can be extended family. It can even be something that you hire out if you're in the position where you can do that. And it's not a bad thing if you hire out help in areas because guess what? That's why those businesses exist, to help us. So it's okay to utilize help. It is okay to not be the only one person doing things. You can't grow and become better and more fulfilled and be mom and beyond if you're the only person doing everything. So take a deep breath. I know. That's a lot to it, but it's a shorter lesson today. I will be back with some more. Hopefully you got some stuff out of this. Like I said, and like I always say, if there's someone that you know that you feel like could resonate with this or hear this information, please share it with them because I would love to know that I might have added some value to their life as well. And in the meanwhile, if you would like to get a copy of my 7-day challenge for overwhelmed moms, for self-caring yourself a little bit, you can feel free to email me at hello@funrichlife.com. or comment me in the messages, and I will get that out to you. Just send me your email address. And otherwise, go out there, find your team, relax a little bit, and I will see you for part 4 coming soon. Go make it a fun, rich life.